What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Breaking the Kernel. I know I look like an 80s porn director, but let's get right into it. Also, if you're only listening to this and not watching it, that's sounding wild and out of context. For those that are just listening, I shaved my beard off. I have just a mustache, and so I look crazy. So, with that being said, let's get into it. Australia has done it. They've done it, and I think a lot more countries are going to follow suit. They have officially banned people from the age of 16 and under from having a social media account. And social media companies have, I believe, 1 year to adjust to this new way of life, basically, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting. I really want to talk about this because, in my opinion, is that, like, for a lot of people, it's very divided. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think it's a great thing, but I have one or two major concerns with this. I need to read more into this, but I have two major concerns. One of them being, how are you going to properly monitor this? Now, because the only real way to make this a law and make this matter is if you make people put their social security number or put some kind of government identification that tells them or tells the app or whatever that, like, okay, you are over 16 years old. Because otherwise, just like websites where you can just put a year that makes you older than whatever the threshold is and you're in, that's not much of a security clear. At that point, you might as well just keep it how it is and just call it a day. So I'm assuming they're going to put some kind of barricades on this, what kind of government identification, or maybe you have to scan some government ID. And because there's services, right, like LegalZoom, for example, if you're in the States, where if you forget your password or whatever, or you change your number, you can't like two-step verify yourself. You need to like do this whole scan your ID, government issued ID, scan your face and all that. So there's so many different ways to go about. So that's something that could be implemented as a security measure. My second concern is, I feel like this is a great step, like I said, but I feel like if you don't issue proper training in the classrooms for people 16 and under, well, really 18 and under really when you think about it, but definitely in this case 16 and under, if you don't put some kind of law in place or some kind of measure in place where they can learn more about social media as a whole and learn more about being safe online and how to take security measures to not get their identity stolen, or that, with this political landscape, with this media landscape, not just political, but media landscape, it is very dangerous to consume all of this content, and you should really find ways to protect yourself. And one of the ways to protect yourself is just better media literacy, right? I feel like literacy and comprehension skills with reading, but especially with media, is at an all-time low. And so, yeah, protect people who are 16 under. I think that's a great idea. But at the same time, if you're not educating them on the dangers of online and the dangers of social media, with the great things, but definitely the bad things about it, then what's the point? I feel like they're going to still make those mistakes just later in life when they have more money, more time, and more to lose. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's a little dangerous. Now, granted, I don't know all the ins and outs of laws in Australia. I'm really just kind of going from it from like a context of an American. Like, if this was a passed in America, how would it affect us? That's kind of how I have to look at this. Because, for example, a lot of things you can't really have until you're 18 years old. So a lot of the dangers with online you don't really learn to understand until you're 18-year-old and you have your own credit card or debit card, you have your own money, you have a job, like some, depending if you're going to college now, you have your first full-time job, where you have a job where you really start making money, whether it's part-time or not, you know what I'm saying? You're still making money, and now you can spend said money. And if you have social media now, whether it's YouTube or whatever, you see how much advertisement is on everything and everywhere. Even streaming services, there's so much advertisements, and that targets people, whether it's ads on social media or ads on streaming services or commercials on TV. Like, they target people, and they know what they're doing. Trust me, these ads are very, very calculated, and they know what they're doing. And you can target a lot of the people you want to target with these ads and these commercials, you can target them. I promise you, it's not that hard. So I say all that to say, I feel like if we don't put good structure in place for a law like this, it can get very dangerous very quickly. Or not dangerous, but it really won't mean much, because then you'll have a bunch of teenagers who have zero media literacy. They don't know how to handle online. They don't know how to handle the pressures of social media. They don't know how to handle misinformation on social media. They don't know how to handle advertisements or protect themselves. And they just suddenly turn 18. They have access to like Twitter, Instagram, all these things. And now they're, you're just kind of delaying the inevitable of what happens with social media, especially with applications like Instagram, where it really, really messes up people's ideas of not only their body, but of where they are in life, their age, all these things. So we don't, and I've said this, I've wanted a law like this in America for a long time. I think it will do wonders. And this is, I know that's an old head way of speaking. People can call me Unc. People can call me Big Bro, whatever the case may be. I was a kid once, right? And I was exposed to Facebook, when MySpace when that came out, Facebook when that came out, etc. But I understand, especially now, it's not like how now compared back then is not the same. It's way more established now. People make money on all these sites, which means their loyalty is to their money in their pockets, not to you. There are plenty of influencers, plenty of content creators who will jump at the chance of any brand deal as long as money and they kind of align with the idea. They'll sell you shit they've never even used before or don't use. They don't care what happens to you. They don't care how much money. As long as you click that affiliate link, they'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say there's a lot of real situations. Like what social media and the effects it does is not just, it doesn't just stop with, oh, our children are using it. If we stop that, it stops. No, like there's so much more than that. And part of it is just that we never, and at least I don't know how Australia is with their education system. I know for a fact in America, we have not done a great job at all of media training, of media literacy, of comprehension of what you see on the internet, what sources to use, how to check sources, how to verify sources. Like we don't train anyone to do this, young or old. Like no one knows. That's why the misinformation on Facebook is so crazy. And you have your grandma and grandpa sending you fucking conspiracy theories as law. Like there's all kinds of misinformation and links and no verification ability. And instead of putting the money on verification of these links and these threads and making sure it goes from credible sources and make sure people cite things, people don't do that. And that has become translated into real life where people just be saying stuff and don't be verifying anything. They don't care to verify. They don't even be verified. They don't care to question it and use that information and use their common sense or what they know and believe to formulate their own opinion. They kind of just go with a narrative and run with it. And that's what's so popular on social media. And we're living in a very hot take world. And I feel like without education and without really getting to the basis of this, the ban on social media for 16 under is just a band-aid. It doesn't cure the problem. There's nothing happening under that band-aid. The band-aid is covering up a crack on the street. That's what it's doing, right? It's not putting more asphalt to kind of like secure that street and make it passable. It's just putting a temporary fix on things. And that's not the way to go. This is a great step, but I hope that there's more with this. I hope that there's a follow-up, because I feel like if we get a true social media etiquette, not even etiquette, but social media education, while also really controlling how much damage companies, influencers, content creators, and etc. can do to kids. We really educate kids so that when they become adults, they have this education and they don't have this addiction to social media, and they have this way to kind of combat what's going on. We could formulate a whole new generation of people who really take back control of some of the things that social media has stripped away from people. And that's hard, right? Because again, when you're not exposed to as a kid, growing up, you're hit with Instagram, and because trust me, what's on Instagram, what's on Twitter, like all this, especially with all the all the images, all the porn, like all the stuff that's just fluttered on social media. I can't imagine being 18 and just finally, or 17, 18, being getting exposed to this for the first time. You're still like in high school, or whatever. You're getting exposed to all this. That's crazy. So I hope there's a way to still like educate and find a way. And I hope that we also don't just stop there. We also start holding social media companies accountable for what's being posted online. You know, I don't want to restrict anyone's content or what they're doing, but there's a certain point where it's like, all right, we need to like find a way to make this live. There's no reason, and I mean the algorithms are terrible. There's no reason why I can't go on like Instagram or Facebook in public without a wild video, like a wild image or video being shown. Like there's a wild west out there, and again, money and sex sells, and they know this, and that's all they care about. So, or violence and sex sells. So like that's what a lot of these companies do. That's what a lot of these companies promote. So I like the law. I really like it. I just hope that there's steps. I hope they don't wait years between. I hope this is something that's like, hey, let's ramp it up. I hope they had a plan. This is the first step in said plan. They have more to back it up, because I feel like, again, Australia will be a sample size. If we see some positive come out of this, I really do see more countries start to, like, especially with an app like TikTok and stuff. I start to see countries start implementing this into their law, into their culture, and make it a societal norm where it's like, hey, until you're 17 years old, 16, 17 years old, 18 years old, you're not touching this stuff. Or at least it's going to be heavily regulated on what you can do. Or like, for example, there's like a little button on YouTube where he's like, oh, is this content made for kids, or is this, you know, like there could be some type of button that that creators have to click, or not even just creators, but like just people have, before they post something. It's like, hey, before you post this, does this have XYZ? If it has these things, that means we're not showing this to anybody who has an account that's under the age of 18, or like under the age of 21. If it's like alcoholic content, or if your ads have ads for alcohol in it, it shouldn't be exposed to people who are under 21 years old. So in the States, again, because I know in some countries the drinking age is less, but stuff like that, like, and I could, you know, this is not a great plan or the best plan. This is just me kind of spitballing it, but these are things I've thought about for a while, and I think that this would be a very interesting way to show people how bad social media is. 'Cause again, we see positive results from this. We can really take that data and really put more into, like, I love experiment on social media in terms of that, to really show the psychological and physical damage that social media can have. And I do think that social media can formulate an addiction with people on their phones and social media. So there's so much science and so much data that can be had from this law that I'm very interested in. I hope they make it public, and that's what I'm saying. I hope there's studies, I hope there's laws, I hope they really go all in on this, and not just some weird political move. I hope it's like, hey, we really do care. We've seen enough damage, especially in the world, and we want to try to see if we can do something to help curb this and make a better tomorrow. And if that's their mindset with this, I completely support it, and I'm really excited to see what's going to come of this. But yeah, something I really, really, really want to do, and I really want to talk more about the effects of social media on my podcast. So I'm hoping to get like some type of professionals, whether it's therapists or other psychological professionals, and social media experts and stuff like that, and see if I can like do some type of like get some series going where I discuss that. That's something I'm passionate about, and I really do think that it's time that we do combat social media in a certain sense. In other news, let me see if I can find this, because this is really important. I thought this was very interesting. I wanted to find the article because I forget, but not a year ago, I think it's Germany, where they have officially made prostitution, or like at least sex work. I shouldn't say it's just prostitution, but sex work, excuse me. Like they like basically they get W-2s, they get like government forms. They can like basically be like, yo, we get rights, we get dental care, we get healthcare. Like, it's a job now. Like, it's like, hey, this is a legit, just like if you're working at the Nike factory, or you're working at Under Armour, you're working at like Starbucks, you're working at Chick-fil-A, you get a government form to fill out for income. You get benefits depending on your full-time or part-time, whatever position. Like, they're starting to integrate the sex work in society in that regards. And I think, and it is probably controversial, I think that's a great move. I want to do research. I want to continue learning about this, keep up the news. I think this is great news because sex work is one of the oldest professions in the world. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's one of the most lucrative businesses in existence, and it's very dangerous. It is very dangerous, not just because of the diseases that can come with it if not regulated properly, but also the domestic and physical and mental violence that can come with sex work, and so many other things that can come with sex work, which makes it very dangerous. And so I think by just like with drugs, by legalizing it and regulating it, I think it can help a lot of people. Now, again, this is coming from a guy. I'm from the outside looking in. This could be a very naive standpoint. I don't know. Like I said, I'm educating myself and getting and doing my research. But from what I've seen and from what anyone who knows anything about sex work can tell you, or just from researching a perspective, that is a very dangerous job, and that without regulation, without proper care, without contraceptive, like there's so many elements that can make sex work so dangerous, and without proper channels, without proper structure, a lot of people can end up dead, harmed, or missing. And I feel like if we stop pretending like sex work doesn't exist and that many people don't enjoy sex work, like we just be like, hey, this is a legitimate thing that people enjoy. That's always going to happen, whether we allow it or not. At least if we allow it in a certain aspect, in a certain sense, that we can make it safer for the workers. We can make it safer for the customers. We can make it safer for everybody. And the government is also obviously going to take their cut. The government is seeing all this money that's not really taxable, and they're like, hey, we can tax the shit out of this. So, I mean, that's what it is. But they're also like, hey, we can save a lot of people. We can save a lot of people. It's a very dangerous job. People get trafficked, all kind of. It's a very dangerous job. So I said all to say that hopefully this leads to good things. Like any law, I hope it leads to good things. I hope it leads to protection. I hope it leads to rights, equal opportunities. I hope it equates to making sure diseases are controlled. Make sure that also the stigma of sex work and some STDs, STIs, all kinds of stuff is also, like, the misinformation around those things are also rampant and can lead to a lot of discrimination and a lot of just wrong way of thinking and misinformation. So again, just like the social media law and stuff, I hope that with laws like this that are passed, or with rights like equal opportunities that are passed for people, I hope there's also education that comes with it or right behind it, so that people don't just be like, sex work, that's no, like, let's look at what they're doing. Let's look at the history behind this. Let's look at, like, just how much money this thing makes, and how, like, there's so many elements to this that's like, we want people to be safe regardless, right? And if it's going to happen anyway, you want to make sure everyone's taken care of, and make sure that everyone's safe, and make sure that we can get proper channels in place, so that if something happens on the job, people have someone to formally complain to, or people can get the help they need, whether it's legal or something else. You know what I'm saying? We can curb some of this trafficking. We can curb some of the unsafe practices. We can curb some of the violence that happens between the workers and the customers, and vice versa. Like, there's so many elements to this that is very, very dangerous, that hopefully this can help save a lot of people, keep a lot of people safe, and keep everything in a legal and clean way. You know what I'm saying? So I hope the best. Just like a lot of things, I hope this helps people. And I think this is something that could really be beneficial for the rest of the world to look at as a sample size, just like the Australia thing, and be like, hey, this is something we can implement into our society. Like, let's remember, marijuana was highly stigmatized, and just, it's almost like devil's juice, devil's lettuce, whatever people want to call it. And now you can go to a dispensary drive through, like it's fucking McDonald's, like it's Burger King, BK, have it your way, and get some weed. Where I'm at, there's a legit dispensary on every corner. I'm not kidding. Like, it's fucking Walgreens, right? Like, it's so different It's so different, man. And so yeah, at one point we looked at weed a certain type of way. Now we look at it like, again, dispensary drive-throughs, like it's a fucking bank. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. Sex work again is one of the oldest professions in the world. It's it's only a matter of time, before we start legalizing. Just like we have, like I don't want to make that comparison. Hold on, let me. It's only a matter of time before we have like red light districts. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. There's only a matter of time before there's designated zones in major cities. I'm talking about America right now. In major American cities where it's just red light districts. You know what you're getting into. If you want to gamble, you want to have sex and or pay for sex or whatever the case may be, there's an alley for you. And it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it's a business practice that's as old as time itself, and it's only a matter of time before, like, hey, this is wild, it's very dangerous, it's very unsafe, and we can't tax any of it really. So it's only a matter of time before, or we can't really make any money off of it. I'm talking about the government saying this, and it's like, hey, if we just make an alley that has all these businesses and they have to pay taxes, and there's a chain of command, a proper chain of command, and there's you can report these things to authorities and not be a crime. It's just like if someone walked into a Best Buy and punched the shit out of an employee or something, that's assault. That that employee can go file be like, hey, this person punched me, and that employee is not going to get arrested because they're working at Best Buy. I know that's a crazy comparison, but you know what I'm trying and attempting to get to with this. Again, I may be all over the place with that. I just read these stories and kind of like see where they're at, and I'm very interested to see what it is, because I just feel like it's a matter of time before we just grow up. Let's just grow the fuck up for a second. I'm being very serious. It's people go to all kinds of countries for these things and do this, and it's only a matter of time. I mean, America is so big; it has so much like money in terms of how much money is spent on consumer goods, all kinds of stuff. It was only a matter of time with marijuana. And look what happened when we started decriminalizing marijuana, and really starting to look at these laws, look at the statistics, look at the science, and look at a lot of these things differently. I think the same thing's gonna happen with sex work, and I think it's gonna happen with a lot of other stuff that we like taboo. This is terrible. This is wrong. We need to look at the science. We need to look at the money. We need to look at the crime rate. There's just so many things that we have to look at that we're like, hey, we re-examine this and try and make it safer and try to really see what we can do to make this what it is. It will change the way we look at things, and also get proper education out there, stop the misinformation, and we can start moving forward to a safer and better society for it. So we'll see what happens. But with that being said, that's the episode. I appreciate y'all. Let me know what y'all think down below about sex work, about sex work, about them getting basically W-2s, and them getting and health insurance, and then all that kind of stuff. Let me know what you think about social media. Or do you think banning it for teenagers and kids is the right move? Or do you agree with me where it's like that's a great move, but there also needs to be a follow-up? There needs to be more than just this law. And I'm curious to see, do you think America is going to pass something like this? Do you think this is something, instead of just straight up banning TikTok, because their problem is it's destroying the youth, maybe there just needs to be a ban for people who are under the age of 18, make it just like opening a bank account, or buying cigarettes and stuff like that. Like maybe there needs to be age ban, and after that you can make your own decisions. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share. See you on the next one. Have a good one.